Hello and welcome back to the Social Hotelier video podcast with me, Sam-Erik. We have some incredible guest speakers lined up for you, including Hilton Lipkin, General Manager at Alba Wellness Valley, Hue, Vietnam, and Jayant Kolla, expert on emerging deep technology trends affecting our lives. He will talk about the era of technologists is over. That is a very controversial statement, so I'm looking forward very much to that. Plus we have Aki Keskitalo. He is the Hotel General Manager at Hotel Torni Helsinki, a renowned and historical hotel. But also, besides being a general manager, he's competing in the Finnish version of The Apprentice. So you're not going to want to miss that out. So now on with this episode. So I'm very pleased to welcome the CEO, founder of Wellbeing concept consultancy, WE.i.Think, Celine Vadam. She has more than a decade of expertise in hospitality, in tourism, wellness and spas. She is certified an integrative health coach from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and the co-founder of the Hospitality of the Future think tank. And she's a regular keynote speaker around the world in major hospitality and tourism events, addressing well-being and sustainability topics. So welcome, Selena. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Sam-Erik. Thanks so much for having me today.
Well, we have done a few of these shows together in the past, and I'm always very interested to hear what's new and what's going on in the world of wellness, well-being, and also besides, we are together in the Hospitality of the Future think tank that gives an opportunity to share best practices and also learn so much. And so thank you very much for allowing me to be part of that.
Oh, thank you for being part of it. And it's actually a part of Studio Pristo too, because Willem is the other co-founder, Willem from Studio Pristo,
correct, yeah,
your colleague. So yeah.
So just a little bit of a background for the audience who have not fully familiar what WE.i.Think is all about. So could you just give some information how it got started and what was your kind of a passion to get started with this consultancy?
Sure. So actually, because sometimes people ask me like, what is that name? So WE.Think stands for like the W for wellness, the E for environment, and the I for innovation. And the think is the idea of like we are building your like projects together with our clients. So it's not like we're sending you like a pretty report that the client will read, hopefully, and then like off they go. It's really like the idea of building projects with the clients. And my like big idea with WE.Think is really to help people in general to live like healthier, longer and happier lives. So it started from the hospitality industry first because it's my background. I've been working as a hospitality development consultant for years. The last job I had was with Four Seasons, working in the development team. And so the hospitality industry is, I think, it's a very good industry to touch a lot of people. You touching the employees, you touching the guests in different situations. So I always thought that tourism and hospitality are really like good industry to really like help people share messages, etc. And I think that often in the hospitality industry, we don't really take that role or like embrace that role and really take it seriously, because there's so much power in this really like intimate relationship that we can create with guests, like when they come and stay in hotels. It's like a really good opportunity to support them or like bring them something. And my idea with the projects I'm working on is to really make the guests feel better when they leave than when they arrive. And so I work on projects from the beginning, from the development stage, all the way to operations. And now we are also, because I'm also a certified health coach, so we also bringing this health aspect to the table, and also doing retreats. So I'm
That's fantastic.
putting together retreats and creating and delivering retreats. So like really bring like putting together the full spectrum of wellness for hotels.
Very good. I mean, if I would have asked, if you would have described to me what you're doing maybe a few years ago, I think, oh, that's maybe some kind of a niche
Mhm.
service. But no, I think it's not. That has spread out, and it's even more important now when after the pandemic, and also how people are seeking in the what I call the search of happiness. You know, finding a way how to get themselves in a better shape in mentally and physically. So I mean, I think you have done you had a very good insight of what's in the pulse of people's mind. So it's very nice to hear what you're doing.
Thank you. And I guess it was very niche initially. It was more like towards like something luxurious, and like more like luxury hotels were interested in it. But it's great to see that all ranges of hotels are interested in wellness now, and also corporate hotels, not only resort hotels. So yeah, it's great.
Good. All right. So thank you for that insight. And so our topic today is critical questions in hospitality, which is referring to a book edited by three doctors: Legrand, Kuokkanen, it sounds Finnish, and then Jonathan Day from Purdue University. And you contributed with a team from Hospitality of the Future think tank, one of the chapters, among others, like return on sustainability investments, with a leading question: is sustainability paying off? And I need to mention the great team who has been part of contributing this. We had Shalana Pereira, Reinier van der Weken, Matthias Innocenti, Hilton Lipken, Sheila McCann, Iren Höök, and Dai-In Danny Han. So this is a team that you have worked with now to put this very interesting chapters together as a contribution to this book. And I understand that the book is for many of the hospitality students, but I think more importantly, just reading the topics and the content, it's really for professionals who need to brush up their skills. So my question really is that how did you get involved with this book and also having an opportunity to contribute to this very interesting book?
Yeah, like that's a good question. So so with the hospitality think tank, we really want to bring more awareness about sustainability and help hotels, and not only help the hospitality industry in general to implement more sustainability. Like that's always like a struggle. Like a lot of time people don't know where to start and what to do, and sometimes like they are sold on the big thing, whereas sometimes there are small things that they can start doing that that can have a big impact too. So we launched the think tank 2 years ago, and we gathered and really like by talking to people Willem and I knew, we really managed to create a group of like 30 people, and we started divided ourselves to really look into the different stages, or like the different areas, let's say, of the hospitality industry. So design and constructions, operations, investment, and communities. And that's how we started to get involved on the sustainability stage. And through that and through networking, I met Willy Legrand, and he offered us to do like 2 chapters on his book, which is actually, like as you said, like it's a book, it's an academic book for students, but the great thing about it is that all the chapters are written also with professionals. So it's not like your usual, let's say, theoretical academic book. It's really full of case studies and practical examples, and things you can actually implement later in your property. So yeah, so that's what it's. I think it's an interesting book, not only for students but also for professionals
Yeah. I
to
mean,
have.
the one of the topics, actually in that chapter, you talk about the triple bottom line, drive value now and in the future, and it's kind of interesting that I looked up that this Jonathan Elkington, he coined the term in 1994 and wrote the book Triple Bottom Line of 21st Century Business, and then, I mean, we're looking at 28, 29 years later. What do you believe is the reason why it has taken this long for the industry to pick up on the idea that we have to find a way to save the planet, we have to protect the people, and profit is always the one that is the first one in people's mind. What are your thoughts? What has been the evolution to move to this direction that triple bottom line actually is feasible now to be talked about, and it's also where hotels, all the stakeholders can be accountable for their performance?
So one of the difficulties of the hospitality industry in that regards is the alignment of stakeholders, time frame, and also interest. Like when you have a developer that comes for a short period of time, and then you have an investor that's there like mid to long term. Then you have an operator that's there for longer term, and you have an asset that's there for like a very long period of time. And there's often a misalignment in terms of timeline. So you're gonna have so people are gonna try to make the most, let's say, of their own stage, but without necessarily thinking of about the overall length for like overall longevity of the asset. So that's why you're gonna have like a, I'm gonna use like a very like concrete or simple example, like an owner might say like a developer might say, okay, we're gonna use this type of flooring, for the rooms, for example, and because it's cheap, and that's okay if we need to change it in 3 years, because in 3 years we're gonna be out anyway. So the future, the next owner will have to deal with that. So these are like all like little decisions that putting all together makes it difficult to really see the asset in his entire life, entire life. And now like what we are starting to see, but again it's something like very very slow, but it's starting to see like how we can evaluate hotels, taking into consideration also taking more into consideration the sustainability aspect of the hotel, and especially now with all these legislations coming from governments and cities, so both at national and local level, to have like more sustainable buildings, more sustainable operations, taking into account, okay, so if today I put I don't know, like I put like an energy system that is consuming a lot, but then like in 10 years, like it will have to be completely replaced because of this new legislation. What's the cost of the replacement of that, and how does that impact the valuation, and how like by actually putting like the more efficient, maybe a bit more expensive but more efficient system in place now, will I gain more value in my like exit valuation price. So it's we before, so we didn't really had much data on like what are the return on investment on the sustainability measures. Yeah, we were told, okay, if you put, I don't know, like LED lights everywhere, it's gonna cost this, but it's gonna also like it's gonna save like that much money as well. So really like having, like now we have data to see that. We can put together some benchmark to see also like how we compare with other hotels, because that's also another issue. It's like, okay, my energy consumption is that much, but I have no idea if it's good or if it's bad or if it's too much. Or so if, like, yeah, really like having some benchmarking and KPIs is important, and it's something that now we can get. So it's not an excuse anymore to say we don't have that. And also like I think like sustainability in hotels involves so many different persons. So it's not only like the owner and the investor and the operator, but also the employees on the day-to-day basis. And it's and in terms of the employees, sometimes it's also changing some habits. You know, like you see on the you see, for example, the in hotels, like if you don't want us to change your towels, well, if you want us to change the towels, sorry, like put them in the bathtub, and then you go back to your room, you just hang your towels, so you didn't put them to change, and you come back to your room and your towels have been changed. And that's to do with the fact that for employees, they think they won't do a good job if they don't change your towels, because your room won't look as nice and clean if they don't. So there's so many like different factors and elements. And but I would say like one thing that is maybe a bit underestimated is the role and of operators in that, because they are actually the one who are in really like in the middle position, to really like help and push for sustainability measures. And right now, yeah, like they are a bit slow to act. And but they really have to, they really are involved like throughout the process, like through constructions to operations, and they're really the one who can change the game and really like push the industry forward in terms of sustainability.
Yeah, yeah, that's very well put, Celine. Yeah, we notice also through my association with Studio Boost Architects, we are seeing now developers who are keen on developing a sustainable hotel, and it starts from that point of looking at everything from beginning, because they will realize eventually when the hotel has been open, has been operated, and also and they may want to sell off the property, the value of that property, if it has been designed, constructed, and taking all those sustainable measures in consideration. In fact, the value of that hotel is not going to go down so much. It's going to be actually a good asset to sell off whenever they do that. So, and also the buyers for this property that has been around for a while, they will look at those, how much they will have to reinvest into the property for themselves. But also, I think one thing that is the consumer, the customers who are using the hotels, they will be now, because everything is transparent in the sense that you cannot hide behind a kind of a idea that you're saying, oh, we are green, and then you just have no plastic straws. I mean, there's more to it, and people are going to ask some very very hard questions, and they will vote with a wallet, as I said, that if they don't truly believe that you are sustainable, they will go to places that are sustainable.
And I think like the hotels who are sustainable have been a bit shy sometimes to show it and really like show what they're doing in a concrete way. Whereas now, it's hard, like when you go like on the internet to and you try to compare different hotels. There's no information on like what kind, like I don't know, what brand of toiletries we're using. What are they using plastic straws or not? Are they like all these like details? You can't really find them until you go to property and you're like, ah, like why are you using like plastic glasses at the gym? And that's where you find out all these things. So it's from a consumer perspective, yeah, it's a bit difficult sometimes to really like sort things out and really see like what the hotels are doing. But I think as hotels sees that as actually like a selling argument towards customers, they will like promote those more.
Yeah, yeah, very good. As moving on to the next point here in our discussion is, as many of our listeners know, uh, I love hospitality. That's where I spent my working life, but I also like technology. And
Mm-hmm.
the only way to keep up with the new demands of travelers is to keep up with the latest technology, because the hotels notoriously are very known for not investing into technology, usually kind of looking for who's using it first, and then they want to maybe consider it if they see it works. But now, because of the, particularly during the pandemic, suddenly you start to see more of self check-ins and digital concierges and keyless entries, and I'm just curious on your view, since you're coming from the luxury background in hotels, on the automation in hotels. Do you think this is the way of the future, meaning less human contact, or is it good or not? Or how should you see it, as from your point of view? How should hotel handle that automation in compared to
I
the
think
customer?
that, yeah, I think that automation is like right now it's like AI. It's like it's not like if it's good or not good. It's there, and it's gonna be more prominent whether you like it or not. So you just have to embrace it. Um, and I think that it. I think we need to be careful in general, and that's for hospitality industry, but I think it's in general too. We need to be careful to implement technology, but in a way that serves also like serves people, but that also like reinforce and make the physical connection more meaningful. So maybe there's no like a reception anymore. Maybe there's no like it's a virtual concierge. But then when you have a human interaction, it's more valuable, and that will go like with re-evaluating also the jobs in the hospitality industry. Is so it like I think that if we want technology to really be at service, it really needs to go also with that like training for to staff, like make the staff more like knowledgeable or in a different way than the technology. So then when guests interact with the employees, uh, they get value from this interaction, not only by the fact that they are interacting with someone, but also like from the perspective of what they brings to the table compared to what the technology is bringing. Um, and I think like I'm diverging a little bit into the wellness side, but I think we also need to make sure that technology um, doesn't make us too reliable on certain things and less able to do things that maybe are a bit boring but good for our health. Like concrete example, like the car is so convenient, you go from one place to another, and it's great, etc., etc. But at the same time you don't move anymore, and moving is a really big part of your health. So now you have to compensate by going to the gym to move. So like yeah, like so what I'm saying is that technology, like what is like we need to look at what is technology taking out that was actually good, and how can we bring that back. So that's why I'm saying like, okay, technology is gonna take out the hassle of waiting in line to speak with the reception for checking, making checking more easy, etc., etc. So take out the negative side of checking, but it will take out also the positive side of checking, which is interacting with someone, maybe get some local advice or like on where can I go eat and why, and like what's your opinion on this and that. And so how can we recreate that social interaction within the hotel in another way, like in a meaningful way?
Good. All right. I have two more questions for you before we wrap up. One question that I like to ask all my guests, besides that, what we talked about, what are the trends you see happening in hospitality that hoteliers should take note of?
Sure. So actually, like this bring me to the book and the second chapter we wrote on the book, which is about healthy being as the path to well-being. That the title, and yeah, like this idea of health is really like coming to hospitality. And so yeah, like every hotel try to say to talk about wellness, and yeah, like we have a wellness offering and this and that, but actually, like really, if you really want to go forward from that, the idea behind is really like health and longevity, and how you can support as a hotel when your guest comes to stay. How can you support your guests' well-being, and by that it means your guests' health. So this is a very big trend. It's I think it's a trend that is not always implemented in a very thoughtful way, or like it's sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, let's do this and that, and just to tick the box. But I think it's I think it's a trend that you see in the older hotels, and sometimes they don't really, yeah, like they do it just to do it because that's what guest wants. But I think it's something that will be even more like even more powerful, and they will see also the impact of that to the business. Because if you think of the hotel gym, for example, there's a big there's a big potential for hotel gyms to attract locals. And now like hotels are realizing that, but to do that, you need to have a nice gym. If you have a like a bad gym in a basement with machines that are so old that you're a little bit scared to lift anything, you won't attract anyone. And I think it's the same also with um, food, you know, like healthy food. That's also a good way to attract locals. So wellness is not only for the hotel guests themselves, it's also good for the employees. So they can, yeah, like take things home, or like take some tips home. But it's also good to create connection and to invite the local community within the hotel. So it's again, it's about how you implement it and what you do with it. But but yeah, like it's a good business generator too.
Very good. Now, wellness and well-being are often used interchangeably. Can you talk a little bit about the differences and similarities? Because I hear it quite often, wellness and well-being.
I would say wellness is more like the industry, and well-being it's more like related to the people. So like the wellness industry is catering for people well-being. Um, I think that, yeah, but these terms are often used interchangeably. But I think the more confusing thing is not really like the difference between those two words, but it's really on the different types of experiences you can have within this like wellness or like well-being spectrum, because it's so broad. And it can go from like going and having like a nice gym or like doing yoga, all the way to like you know, like a clinique la prairie where you have where it's medical and you have like really like medical treatments and medical services. So it's so broad that people can get lost. and think that they will go like to a La Prairie clinic and have like a chilled week, and that's gonna be fun and relax and chill. Whereas it's actually like a clinic, so you have a program and you have like a pretty invasive treatments too. Or like the other way around, like going to a resort, like a wellness resort, and think that you're gonna have like really more like checks, or like that it will be a little bit more hardcore for your in terms of health, and then you go to the restaurant and you have burgers and alcohol and all these cakes and everything. So like that the cursor is the range is so wide that it's hard for the customers to figure out what actually they're getting, what are the differences between the different type of models and the different type of approach, which makes it, yeah, like very confusing. And unless you can really articulate properly and in a way that it's simple and understandable to customers, yeah, it's gonna be a mess because no one really knows like what's going on where.
Yeah, yeah. Very good, Celine. Well, thank you very much for all your insight today. And so, lastly, if people are interested to find out more about WE.i.Think, how can they do so? How can they find more information on what you're doing?
So they can go on our website. It's www.wei.think.com. Or like we have a social media like Instagram account at WE.Think. There's my LinkedIn as well. So yeah, we can also reach out to me on LinkedIn or social media
Very good. I
or
will put
wherever.
the website in the show notes so people can find you directly after they have seen the show. So finally, thank you very much again, Celine. I appreciate you joining today's episode, and thanks for all the fantastic insight. And I look forward to doing another episode in the future, how we can connect again about this more very important part that we are part of in the hospitality. So thanks again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.